For what purpose does the gentleman from the Marianas Island rise?
Madam Speaker, I move that the House suspend the rules and pass House Resolution 335.
The clerk will report the title of the resolution.
House Resolution 335, resolution supporting the goals and ideals of National Volunteer Week.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from the Marianas Islands, Mr. Sablan, and the gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Petri, each will control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from the Marianas Islands.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I request 5 legislative days during which members may revise and extend and insert extraneous materials on House Resolution 335 into the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
Madam Speaker, I yield myself as much time as I may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you. I rise today in support of House Resolution 335, which supports the ideals and goals of National Volunteer Week. People who volunteer and engage in community service play a vital role in neighborhoods across the country. National Volunteer Week invites all Americans to give back to the community in some form of service. Last week, President Obama signed into law the Edward M. Kennedy Serve America Act. The law recognizes the necessary role volunteerism and service play in our country and creates 175,000 new service opportunities over the next several years. Through 4 new service corps, the Serve America Act will engage volunteers to work in their communities in the areas of health, education, green work, and programs to support veterans and their families. Today, more than 400,000 individuals have volunteered through AmeriCorps, one of the largest national service programs working in local communities across the nation. Whether it's tutoring children in after-school programs, cleaning up parks, or serving food to the homeless, volunteers answer unmet needs by partnering with nonprofit organizations, schools, faith-based, and community agencies to volunteer their services in local communities. Amazingly, seniors working as part of the Senior Corps have generated more than 1 billion volunteer service hours. Schools are also working to increase service opportunities in the communities. More than 1 million students participate in service learning programs in their schools. On a national level, volunteers have helped America alleviate some of its most pressing problems. During 9/11, millions of volunteers responded in our country's time of need through their churches, schools, and oftentimes as individuals wanting to help their neighbor. And more recently, over 80,000 volunteers traveled to Fargo, North Dakota to fill sandbags, strengthen levees, and help flood victims evacuate their homes. When the call is sounded, this nation's citizens rally together to begin the rebuilding that is needed. National Volunteer Week recognizes the critical role volunteers play in their communities. This week honors the hard work and contributions. I want to thank Congressman Platts for bringing this resolution forward and reminding us of the importance of volunteerism. Madam Speaker, I urge my colleagues to support this resolution, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves the balance of his time. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Wisconsin.
Madam Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume. I rise in support of House Resolution 335, a resolution supporting the goals and ideals of National Volunteer Week. Throughout the history of the United States, Americans have valued an ethic of service. Citizens have come together to support our troops, educate our children, or work to ensure that less fortunate individuals have a place to live. All of these activities support the theme of this year's National Volunteer Week, celebrating people in action. This week gives us an opportunity to recognize those individuals who serve their country not only through the military or through national service programs run by the Corporation for National and Community Service, but also those individuals who are donating their time to serve their local communities. Just last week, our President signed the latest reauthorization of the National Service Program. This bill was crafted through a bipartisan process in both the House and the Senate and builds on the reforms in the corporation stated by the previous administration to ensure additional accountability in national service programs. The bill will help smaller organizations participate in national service and ensure that the unique skills of America's veterans are utilized. Volunteerism is a way for Americans to connect to their communities, learn more about the problems facing their communities, and to simply make a difference. This week, we salute all volunteers and National Service Program participants for their powerful impact, and we thank all community partners who make these efforts possible and bring more Americans into service. I want to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues, Mr. Platts, Ms. Matsui, and Mr. Price, for introducing this resolution, and I ask my colleagues to support this resolution. I have no request for time and yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back the balance of his time. The chair recognizes the gentleman from the Marianas Islands.
Madam Chair, Speaker, I also encourage all my colleagues to support House Resolution 335, and I have no further speakers. I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back the balance of his time. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass House Resolution 335? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no.
Vote on the ground that a quorum is not present and make the point of order.
Gentleman will suspend. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 being in the affirmative, the gentleman from Northern Marianas Islands.
Thank you, Madam
Is
Speaker. I object to the
recognized.
vote on the ground that a quorum is not present and make the point of order that a quorum is not present.
Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20 and the chair's prior announcement, further proceedings on this motion will be postponed.